Hi, we are JKwan, a new podcast of views from foreigners based in Japan, focusing on worldwide racial and systematic inequalities and disparities, language, music, the arts, and culture. Created by everyday people for everyday people.
All right, so shall we begin? Let's do it. Yeah, okay. So there's three topics that I wanted to cover today, right?
Mhm.
And that was police brutality, the marches, and White Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter being labeled as terrorists or political groups from both sides. Or
But I think what's important too, I think we've already we've discussed this already, the reaction of Japanese people.
Exactly.
I think that's really important to add every time that we have a discussion. It's really important to add the reaction in Japan because we are citizens here, right?
Yeah.
We reside here, and it's really important to also to see their reactions and their support or their thoughts on what's going on, you know?
Totally. So do you mind if I ask my first question? You ready for this?
No, let's go. Rock and roll.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is a big one, but in regards to police brutality, you know, the classic question everyone always asks is, you know, why does it happen? You know, and a common response to that is, well, racism. Right?
Well, I wouldn't. Well, you have to look at the history of police. They were originally. I mean, I'm talking about the police in. For me, I'm talking about the police in America, but for me, in Europe, because Americans originated from Europe, right? So, in my opinion, I label police from where I'm from, the UK, also with the same. I paint them with the same brush. Racism came from slavery, but also the police were originally slave catchers. Did you know this?
Yeah, I think you talked about this in the last talk. Yeah.
Originally slave catchers, and the Constitution in America has nothing to do with Black people, and they said time and time again it was written by racists.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, the system, the whole system is racist. It's flawed. It's not just about the police. The police are part of it, but if you think, you know, the police don't rule. The police have people to answer to. Now, if they had strict rules, like the Supreme Court and all that, where they've been getting away with murdering innocent Black people, right? Now, it's not just the police; it's a group of people. I'm going to use a big word, but I'm trying to keep to that everyone can understand. So that's why I stopped. It's a group of people and not just only the police. We see the end result, which is the police, right?
Yeah.
But the reason they're doing it is because they've been getting away with it, right? Now, if you were doing something that you know you couldn't get away with, you wouldn't do it. But if you, it's a constant, right? It's constant. And yes, it's not only Black people that they do this to, but it's proportionately high compared to other people, right? And I should have some numbers to show you. You know, we'll do that next time. I should have some statistics to show you, really. We'll talk about that next time. But it is proportionately high compared to, and I think the thing that they use is but there's more white people that's been, stopped by police and blah, 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 not been murdered. And there are more white people in America than there are black people. But when you actually count it up and compare it, it's proportionately more black people that have been stopped and arrested and murdered than white people.
So let me ask you this then. On top of racism, are there other, social factors that's also contributing or can explain police brutality on top of racism? What other conditions?
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Are there other social factors that are part of this issue?
Racism covers everything, right? Systematic racism, right? So if it's in the system, it's housing, it's community, it's they are put into a community where they're not from, right? So they're gonna do whatever they want in that community, right? So they're putting into black communities where they have none of the culture or don't care about the culture. They're not. I can't say they're not trained. I don't know, because I don't know how you can put someone out on the street to work with people and they have no training, right? Right. So is that what you mean? Is that what you're getting at when you say there's other, apart from racial, apart from it being racial? What do you want me to? Because racial covers a lot of things.
So there's a few things I had in mind.
Racism covers a lot of things.
Yeah. So so there's a few things I had in mind. One was like the violence being committed predominantly from either males or female. Is that an issue? You know what I mean? So if you look at like the statistics, will you see? I don't know, but maybe you will see that it's predominantly males that are committing the violence.
Yeah,
so perhaps.
So
perhaps that's also an issue.
It's predominantly male, but you still have the woman backing them up. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Really? Okay.
Is there, they back them up. There ain't no one to say, I've never seen, I'm not saying that it's never ever been, but I've never seen, that's a lie. I'm going to take it back. It's very rare. It's very rare when you see another police officer challenge a police officer that is out of line, that is breaking the rules. It's very rare that happens. But there is a case, or there are cases, but I'm speaking of one, I don't know if it happened this year or was it last year, where the woman, she was black, and she reported him and she got fired for it.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
A woman who was a police officer reported her, I'm not sure if it was a partner, but she was there at the incident and she reported it and she got fired.
Oh, wow. For whistleblowing.
Yeah, and recently, well, if you want to call it that, but it's I don't know. I don't see it as I don't call it whistleblowing.
Okay.
I call it whistleblowing, but listen, you weren't doing your job properly, right? I think they use whistleblowing, and I don't like how they use it, the term, especially when it's I don't find it. I don't think it fits it. But there's also one, I think it was it this year too or last year? He got fired because he found a video. Did you not see that? That was like international news. He found a video. Oh my goodness, was it a train? Oh God, I can't remember how it went now. He found a video, and he was either a trainer or something with the police, and he found a video where the officer held the man's nose, and he found the video and reported it, and he's been either suspended or fired.
What reason? Yeah.
Fired, or was in a
what reasons do they usually give for like firing someone for doing that? Why would
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know the reason. They just make up crap anyway. So and you're right, we should look more at the reasons. We just hear that they're being fired, right? But we don't look at the reasons, really, do we? Accept it as they're being fired because of blah blah blah, and they just make up some nonsense reason, right?
I was I was forgot what I was gonna say, but I was listening to an interview about shoot, I forgot. Sorry,
That's okay.
it'll come back to mind. But
Your views. I wanted to,
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're from Canada, right, which is not too far from America. I want to see your views on
yeah.
the policing in America, UK,
Mm, 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 mm,
let's say Canada, right? What are your
mm.
views?
Yeah, cool. The interviewer becomes the interviewee.
Well, we're both interviewing each
So
other. So
cool, cool, cool. Okay. So, sorry, could you one more time
repeat.
your question? Yeah.
What are your views on the policing in America, Canada, and the UK? What are your views?
Okay. So, all right, you ready? So for me, I I come from a psychology background as well. I study psych in uni, and one thing that you we study a lot or hear about is like theories about human nature, right? So the idea is that there are certain aspects of human nature that you find regardless of the culture, society, country you're in. So for example, like language or making music in society or art, things like that, right? And violence, for example, is found um, in all civilizations, countries, societies, and it's predominantly by men, right? So that's why I raised that question, because it made me curious. Like, maybe that's also because men typically have more aggression, and like when men who have high levels of aggression and like lack self-control are put into positions where they have authority and can exercise that power over people, then they're more likely to do that. So I think regardless, like Canada, yes, obviously culture can mitigate and fluctuate the degree to which people act aggressively, but you do find like aggressive and violent behaviors in all countries and cultures and societies. So that's why I think it's a human nature issue as well, that we need to look at racism being a human nature issue on top of a cultural issue.
The human nature, could you give me a little bit more on that when you said the human nature?
For example, like it's there's a lot of theories that are that propound the idea that humans have a tendency to create groups, in group and out groups, right? And then racism is kind of like that. It's like saying that group of people it's not us, it's not our group, right? Black people are black people, and we're white people, for example, or we're Asian people, and they're not allowed in this group, right? So once you make those groups, you want your group to be better than the other group, right? Or you want to see you want to perceive your group, right? That's why no, but that's a tendency for humans, in human nature. Unless that's why we have to keep ourselves in check and realize like, oh shit, like, excuse my language, but like we have.
I don't speak
Right?
for all black people, but I don't believe there's anything that we don't think like that.
Yeah. Sure.
And I again, I can't speak for all black people, but I can't. We don't think like that because we're at the bottom of the pile. So we don't think like that. We do have people that think they're better than each other and stuff like that, but not because they're of a certain group, right? They want to be in another group. Do you understand what I mean? It's not that they're in a black group, but they want to be if they're in another group that's not black, they see themselves being better, or they're in a group that's black, they see that they're doing themselves better, not because they're in a black group. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I am saying that maybe in the younger generations, but in the older generation, I wouldn't. And don't quote me on it. There might be some, but I'm just saying that I find that really difficult, because when you're the one that you've been oppressed, right, for so long, and I don't think it's in our nature. But it is in our nature to feel that we're better because of money or material things. And I understand it because we both psychology majors, and I have a master's also, but it's sometimes when you know, and because I teach it here too, when I talk to the students, you have to look sometimes how old some of it is,
Mm-hmm.
and also not only that, who are they basing their research on, right? A lot of the times it's their own selves, people like them, right? So to compare or to judge something or to research something, then come with a finding that is not, it's only Eurocentric. It's nothing to do with other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And I mean, studying psychology, we always found this in a lot of the arguments, right? They were saying, yeah, but what about this country? What about that country? You know, do you know what I mean?
So could you frame that in a
So,
different way?
so when there is a study on a particular thing, it's usually on white people, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
Okay.
then the findings that they have, they try to make
Generalize
it
it.
everyone, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's
Right.
not, because the cultures are different, and
Mm.
we're very we act very differently to how a white person would react
Yeah.
to a situation, right? So when we say Eurocentric, it's all about Europeans, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand that it is going to be a little bit better, but when they do their researches, right, who are doing it as well? It's not just who it's on, but who are the people that are doing it,
Mm. So the
right?
sample needs to be more representative. Yeah.
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 Right. So you also have to look at that too when you're looking at uh, um, a discourse that somebody's written or said, or and so on. So you need to make sure, look at the background. You know, with psychology, it is fairly new as well. I mean, I know that it's over 100 years old now, but it's still fairly new compared to medicine and so on,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
but it started from the middle class background, right? And it's still
Yeah.
pretty much it.
I guess on this topic of like studies or research, is there any what kind of studies do you wish could take place, or what would you like, researchers to look at? What kind of answers do you need that are you looking for or still asking?
There's so many things that I would like to be done,
Yeah.
research, but I would like who is doing it to be, first of all, changed, right? A
Uh,
mixture, of one particular group of people, but a mixture of people doing the same research together, where they all
uh,
have same understanding and the same level of respect. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
for each
So we're
other.
right, yes, for each other, and no one, there isn't a leader. They
Mm.
were a team and they work together, right? And and still you're going to still have your flaws as well. But what I'm saying, it's better than just having a certified white person as a psychologist going out there, you know, into a field that's unknown to them and
Mm-hmm.
coming back with their own whatever they decide that they found. But you have to understand that they're not of that culture, so they're going to see things in their own ways,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we're gonna do research, the research first of all has to make sure that it's a mixture of people that are doing it and not just one person from one culture that's going to always deem themselves as a better culture. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's all being.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely more, I guess, not less homogeneity within the
Mm,
research community.
mm.
Yeah, because that can bias research even.
It's very
You know.
biased.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very biased, right?
Mm, mm, mm,
Do you remember? My goodness, it could have been 10 years ago, and it really, really, really got me so angry. It was a Japanese professor who was based in the UK,
okay.
and they published a report on him saying that Black women are the most ugliest women, from research that he did. Now, everybody got mad at the man. Absolutely, yes, I was really
Okay.
angry. But the fact of
Okay.
the matter, the research, as you know, as a psychologist, it's got to go through the
Checks.
university checks before
Yeah.
they can go into a magazine.
Yeah.
Right. So this was actually in the is it psychological? I don't want to It was in one of the psychology magazines. I'm not going to say.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Right, so one of the a well-known psychology magazine that comes out. I think it's a monthly one, or yeah, I think it's a monthly one, and they published it. So this is what I'm talking about. They saw fit to publish it. Attractiveness is a personal thing. It's subjective, so you can't measure it.
Yeah. That's almost like yeah. So this would probably be a really good example of if someone asks like, where's this institutionalized racism? You know.
You lost me.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, people are always asking the question, where's this institutionalized racism that everyone's talking about? And it's in the very like academic systems sometimes. Yeah,
no, not all the time. Like we talked about it last time when I said to you that everybody thinks because someone is intelligent, it means that they're not racist. But you have to understand that's where it started from. It was the rich people that went over to Africa. I hate saying that name because that's not its real name. Right? Went over there and took my ancestors, right? And did what they did. Right? They weren't poor people. They were the people that were educated. So people are looking at people who are educated as if they, because of their intelligence, they can't possibly be racist. But they're one of the worst people who are.
Yeah, right? I guess people see like intelligence and like attitudes towards it as separate things, or like as the same thing. So
they caused the separate, where you got the everyday white person. They were the one that put that crap in there, the racism into their heads, because they I mean, this is a story that's been going around for years, and it's for real, right? Where they've said to the lower class white people, well, we can make you better than them because because they didn't want them to, if they join together, right, they will win against them. So of course they're going to put their poison in or their propaganda in, and that's what's been happening always and continuously. When you see those people that are going out there doing the murdering, right, you have to look at what's behind it, right? Not excusing their behavior, but you have to look at where it came from. Where did they get this acknowledgement? And it's grown into the poor white communities, more so because of education and so on, right? But I still don't think that's just the reason. You shouldn't look at a person's color and judge them. That's just nothing to do with education. It's just innate, right?
Sure.
Yeah, but anyway, there's so much to talk about regarding that, right? I can lose myself in it. But systematic is housing. Systematic is education. Systematic is businesses. That's
a good one.
It's everywhere. It's everything.
Yeah.
And it's there. And it holds people like me and people of color back. No.
Going back to focusing on the police brutality.
Yeah.
For police departments, right? What do you want to hear them say? What do you want to hear from them when they're speaking to the public?
I don't hear anything from them.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, because I think they're just as warped as the people, because they're in it. Just it doesn't make sense. I just don't want them to go into the Black communities anymore and let the Black community run their own community, and you stay out. That's what I think, because you're always going to be biased. I don't care about defund them, of course, take the money and give it to somebody else, absolutely. But I just don't think that they should be in any kind of community, because the people that they're giving jobs to are Neanderthals. Right? And it just feels like to be a Neanderthal needs to be a requirement, to be a Judas.
Right.
If you understand what I mean regarding a black person or Asian person or a Hispanic person, to be a Judas seems to be a requirement.
This kind of touches on my my other question, which was, I want you to try to imagine that you were in a position in the police department where you were hiring officers. So you're the hiring recruiter for that department, right? What are your criteria? What would you?
Well, it'd be a thorough check. It's like police officers are going out in the community. It would be a thorough check, not just that psychological test every year or depending on if they had a depending on situations that they've had. It would depend on how serious it was, but they would have to have a psychological check. They'd have to have a personal check on their life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you go into be a social worker or a psychologist or working in the schools, right? You have to go through these tests.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So why are police going through them? I don't know. Are they? Because I can't imagine them getting past these tests.
And making them regular too, not just you do it once to go in, and then that's it. Yeah.
Making them regular, but they don't know when it's going to happen.
Okay, and also you mentioned about defund the police. So a lot of people are, I guess, confused about what that means. Does that mean like no money for the police, no police?
No, the money that you've been given to them to work in the schools, to work in care, like people with mental illness, because they're killing them, right? And they're arresting young children, right? Which is detrimental, and it just completely destroys their childhood, and it turns them. And they say the pipeline to the prison, right? What is a police officer doing in school? Please tell me.
Just personal question. When you were in school, did you have
no, but I'm from
guards?
England, and we didn't have anything like that. Not saying that racism didn't exist. Not racism didn't. It did exist. Mm-hmm. It did exist. Yeah, I used to see teachers beat up the black students, right? When I was at school, yeah. But because some of them didn't tell their parents, but my mom didn't play. I'm telling you, my mom did not play. She doesn't. She's like she understood that her kids were going to be not treated equally. And as soon there was an incident that a teacher, it just felt like the stories of Till and all those other where a white woman lied on my brother, a white girl from my class, and told a lie. And because I was there, and she told a lie on my brother. And my homeroom teacher humiliated my brother. I was only like 7 or 8. I was crying my eyes out. We lived like a few minutes away from school. And as soon as that bell rang, I ran home and I told my mom I was crying. My mom came to school, and she was actually quite big then, right? She was bigger then. She's not like that. But my mom came to school and she was going to kill that woman.
Oh my gosh.
The woman knew exactly what she did. She tried to get in the car and get away. And my mom grabbed her. She got in the car and the window was open. My mom grabbed it. My mom wouldn't let it go because she's like, these are my kids. These are my life. My mom don't play.
Yeah.
And she was like, she don't play with us either. My mom's strict. And for me, I'm really grateful to the upbringing that I got from my mom and my dad. My mom, of course, was the strongest. She was more strict. My dad was soft, but my mom was really strong. And I really appreciate the upbringing that I got from my mom. Because of my mom, I became the woman that I am. And I'm very vocal about things. I get in trouble a lot, but I shouldn't really say get in trouble. People don't like what I say because I just say it. If something is wrong and people are getting away with nonsense, I do say it. It started when I was 5 years old. I couldn't get into school. My mom took me to schools and would say, no, we can't. And I wanted to go to school. And my mom went back to the school, which is near my house again, and went back and I was with her. And the headmaster, which we say you guys are principal, said to my mom, I'm sorry, we can't, we've got no room. And I started crying. I go, it's because I'm black, isn't it? I'm 5 years old and I'm aware of this at 5 years old. And I went, it's because I'm black, isn't it? And he was like, no. I went, yes, it is, because I'm black and you don't want me because I'm black. And I'm crying. Right?
At 5 years old. That's crazy.
I'm sorry?
At 5 years old.
So I knew.
That's crazy.
I knew. And I said, my mom, so I don't know, days later, mom got a letter. There was a place for me. Suddenly, poof, a place for me.
Yeah. You mentioned about getting this characteristic of you being vocal and standing up for what you think is standing up against what you think is wrong and for what you think is right. Do you find that you see that happening, in society in Japan?
Well,
Is that
people
something you want
stand
to see more?
in
Yeah, being
Japan.
vocal. Being vocal. Are people being vocal
Mm,
enough?
not enough. Because I understand that Japanese culture is they're non-confrontational, but sometimes it depends on when it suits, right? Because Osaka people are very proud of their aggressiveness. So I'm like,
Mm,
what are you then? They're always saying you're aggressive, and they're really proud of the fact that they're aggressive, right? And you've heard that too,
mm,
right? About Osaka
mm.
people. So I'm like, okay, if you're not confrontational, well then what is this?
Or foreigners. Japanese people
Right,
always say foreigners.
right.
Yeah.
So I find that there are some people that, I mean, I really appreciated the people that came out to the march that I went to, and
Mm,
it was a lot of those people that came out. I really appreciated them. But I also wonder deep down inside, what are you really, are you here for the real reason, or are you here just to be with your friends, or because your white friends are here or your black friends are here? Do you understand what you're really here for? Are you really supporting this from your heart, or are you just here because it's a fashion and it looks cool? Right, so
mm,
you have to
mm,
address that, because that's some of the time that how some Japanese people do think, right? And with the incident, what really hurt my soul was, they're saying, I read online, I was trying to find some, but it's like it's gone. But in Twitter, and then in some people's YouTube pages, they said or commented on the marches that was going on, not just in Tokyo, not just in Osaka, Kyoto, Kobe, Fukuoka. It was all over Japan, right? It wasn't as many people as in like UK and France, but
mm,
this didn't
mm,
matter. It doesn't
mm,
matter.
mm,
Um, but there was two things that they complained about. One was, it's got nothing to do with us. It's in America.
mm.
And then the other was, um, but aren't these marches going to even make the coronavirus worse?
Right. Yeah, I hear that.
That was
Yeah.
I understand that. But I went to a march where it was Black Lives Matter, and I'm sure they communicate with each other, right? Because I saw the Tokyo one and the Kyoto one, and then they had two main interests. One was to march for equality, and the other was the safety of the people. Right? If you're sick, if you feel like, you do not come. You must wear a mask. You must have gloves. These are the requirements. And if you didn't have
Mm-hmm,
any,
mm-hmm,
they were
mm-hmm,
asked
mm-hmm.
to leave. Right?
Right,
So
right,
they
right,
really were very, concerned about the
right.
coronavirus. But you
Very
have to
stringent on the
understand,
rules.
yeah. But you have
Yeah.
to and you have to understand, this is a march for people's life.
Mm, mm,
So coronavirus didn't mean, I have to say it in a way where it's saying that it's not like they didn't care about it, but one of the that or something else is going to take them out.
right,
Do you understand? It was a fight.
right, right, right.
So what was I saying? I said, I'm going out to save my life, but in the same time as trying to save my life, I could die from the
Mm-hmm,
coronavirus. But
mm-hmm.
I'm going out to fight for equality, so that my life and people like me's life can mean something.
Matter.
But in
Exactly.
order to do that, I might end up dying for it, and it's worth it, because I'm trying to do something to make a change, to
Mm,
stop
mm,
this hatred
mm,
of a
mm,
skin color, right? But then when I saw it, I saw the mails, and I wanted to put it online here, and I wish I had saved them. Some were in Japanese, some were in broken English, where some Japanese people had said, it's got nothing to do with us. Why are you marching in Japan? This is a human right of a person. Now, are you saying to me, if people are getting murdered and it's our human right to live. Right? It's our inherent human right to live on this planet. And if somebody is taking us out because of the color of our skin, and you're telling me that you're going to sit back and say, well, it's not happening here. How would you like if that was happening in Japan to Japanese people, and we sat back and said, but it's got nothing to do with us?
Yeah. Right.
Do you understand where I'm coming from? What
Yeah,
that said,
yeah.
what does that say about you? What do we mean to you? What do Black people really mean to you? If you can go online
Wow.
and say, this has nothing to, it has everything to do with you. When anybody's human right is threatened, it has everything to do with the world. Regardless where it's happening.
Right.
So this is what I can't understand, the coldness of these words. I don't want to hear, we need education. No. This is about your heart. This has got nothing to
do with distance. Or
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Right. It's just fundamentally your like your recognition of the worth of human life. You know, it doesn't have to be next door or 2 doors down, 3 doors down. You know, when do you call it? You know, when you draw the line, it's like, oh, from here on out, it doesn't matter. No, of course not. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's crazy.
That was a problem for me. That was a problem. And don't get me wrong, I really appreciated the people that stood up, the Japanese people that came out and stood up. And I did question, not just them, I did question white people that were out there too. I did question it. Is this a fad? Is this something that you want to be a part of? Is it going to continue for how long? Right? I still feel that way. I'm still very unsure about the people, agenda, the real reasons why they're there.
This raises a question that I've kind of been thinking about, and it's just about responsibility in terms of being vocal. You know, people are wondering, you know, like, I want to do something. I want to be active. Like how much should I be doing on? Should I be focusing on social media? You know, I'm not a really big social media user. I don't really use Facebook. Should I be doing that, or should I choose a different avenue? Does it matter which avenue I use? Can you help to clarify?
I don't think it matters as long as you do something that you feel comfortable in, and it's supporting the cause, right? I like that we do this because we got I mean, over 300 views might mean a lot to anyone else, but it just to us because I don't know anybody. A lot of my friends probably didn't even look at it, but I don't care. But I want to keep doing this, not talking about things that, because it's a real deal. Right, we're not talking about famous people because that's nothing compared to our own lives, our everyday life, and that's what I want to talk about: is our everyday life. Race right now is the topic because it's been a topic for centuries.
Yeah.
And people don't address it in the way that they should address it.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't want to go on a program where I'm what's the word? Where I'm told I can only say certain things, and I can't say certain things because I might hurt this person or hurt that person. But when I'm really I'm talking the truth. And getting on to that, and getting on talking the truth, it's like Nick Cannon, where he got fired for saying anti-Semitic things, and I'm like, and I listened to it, and I said to my partner, I said, what? I don't understand what he said though. I really don't understand what he said to, and I mean, he apologized, and I wrote to him on Twitter and said, I don't see what you had to apologize for. I don't see what you said. We've been saying this a long time ago. From a long time, we're saying that the Israelites were black. How is that anti-Semitic? I don't see how. I don't understand. I don't. The original Jews were black. That's what he's saying. Even Jewish people say the original Jews. Well, some people that I know that say the original Jews were black. So I don't understand what. And this is something that he said about a year ago, right?
That's interesting. Yeah.
Right. So they're trying to shut him down, and they're trying to take his stuff. But I think it's a undercurrent. I think because he's doing this thing, this is something that we can talk about another time about Dr. Sebi. Do you know who Dr. Sebi is?
Yeah. No.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I want you to research him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. But just you mentioning about this story with Nick Cannon just made me think about. I think I think you posted it, but it was like, you know, the images of, you know, the Bible gospels in the Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, it was just they were black, and then some people were like shocked by that and offended by that, but it's like that's probably how, you know, that's what it was. You know.
Right. I mean, this
Yeah.
is description. There was description of. I mean, I don't believe in. I can't follow the Bible because it's so distorted. There's so many things taken out, and even there's even chapters that are apparently in the Roman Catholic Church in Rome, right? So I can't. They've twisted so many things of our history has been so twisted. I just go on my spirit. That's all I have is my spirit, and that's I just go by that right now.
Just mhm.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. We were just talking about what about Nick and the Bible and I don't see how that was. And when I said Dr. Sebi, Dr. Sebi was murdered.
Okay.
And nobody can tell me any different. And Nick was doing. Nipsey Hussle, the rapper that was murdered last year. Was it last year? 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Nipsey Hussle was murdered, and the man that shot him was another black man who said that he was paid by FBI or some kind of agency. Now Nipsey Hussle was doing a documentary on Dr. Sebi, so Cannon said, "I'm taking it over." And for me, I just think that this happened because of that.
Dr. Sebi, how do you spell that?
It's SEBE, or is it Y, or is it I? I'm going. No. I know I should know how to spell it. Yeah. I'll send you that later on.
Yeah. Okay. But just to touch just really briefly back on that point about you know, being vocal, you know, so the people that you know on social media, you know, there's some people who are posting a lot and very active on social media, but then
Yes.
some people are not, you know, some people don't really use social media.
They don't
And
have to
you yeah, so that's what I was saying, you know,
be
like for
vocal
me.
around friends, be vocal. There's lots of different ways of doing it. And
Yeah.
being vocal, educating yourself when something happens, standing up. Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't want, again, like I said to you, I'm not going to tell people what they need to do. When you we've all got a calling. I believe that we've all got a calling. No one told us to do this. We just decided, you wanted to know, and then after I felt really good about talking with you, I said to you, let's do it again. And you said, we decided to do this. It's the same way. Do you understand?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you wanted to know more, and it's gotten this way where we want to. This is our way of trying to. And I'm not trying to teach people. I'm just talking about how I feel.
Yes. Sure.
How I feel. And how you feel, how I feel, the questions that you want to have, or just as friends, we're just talking.
Yeah.
We're recording this.
No, I really want to ask that because, you know, I often see online on social media, you know, people criticizing each other, their friends even, about not being active enough, and like, hey, you need to like post more. I don't know. So just was.
There are a lot of people who are silent now.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, and that's what they say. Silent means violence, because when you're silent, you're condoning it. This is something that they use in football, in the FA, and they've been using this since 2000. When did they come to Japan? 2002. This isn't new. They said if your silence means that it's okay. It's the same thing when people are silent, right? I had to coach one of my students that nearly broke my heart. That she came online, she didn't understand the situation, but she's got white friends, right, in Japan. So let's be real about white people in Japan too, because they're racist as hell too. And some of them think because they're married to Japanese women or Japanese men, it doesn't make them a racist. But you don't like black people, so it makes you a racist. Let's get real with that too. Right. So that's another topic we can talk about another time, right?
No, just to close off this topic on, like, everyone has their own path. I just wanted to share my just a really quick story. I do breaking, like, right? Yeah. So, like, for me, through breaking, I've been able to meet people from all kinds of different walks of life. And I really appreciated the opportunity. And for me, like, breaking has helped me to break down stereotypes, right, and assumptions. And that was my way of learning about different cultures and different people and different perspectives, right? So, and that's kind of like also another way for me to build a bridge between people from just such diverse backgrounds. So I guess that, I think what you said was really really resonated with me. Everyone has their own way to break down these barriers, to break down these prejudices.
But to be silent, right, and not do anything about it, and then to be silent and then come in with being misinformed because you have friends that are white that have their own negative views of Black people, and to come in and then make a judgment on a page which I'm on and I'm not going to play, and my student I don't play, because I said to her, what are you doing? I've been posting all these things about, what's happened with George Floyd and all of the people. I've been doing this for years, and you've never said anything. And I said, so why have you come in on here talking about just because somebody died? What do you mean by just because somebody died? It's not just about because somebody died. It's because of many, many, many Black people, and it could be thousands because we not all of them have been on video, right? So that was her way of contributing, but it was a negative way, right? And so then she went into my inbox and wanted to talk to me there, and I went, no. I said to her, I'm not. You can do it here, but I'm going to copy and paste it and put it on the wall because you're brave enough to say what you had to say on your page. So I'm going to put what you're saying behind closed doors on your page. You can remove it if you want to. I'm going to put it out there, and it was because it's not because she's not educated, it's because she's following people. And she said to me, "You're right. I didn't understand it. I just said what I thought because somebody else has sent it to her, right?" And what it was a video of 3 generations of Black men, right? And to her, it looked like they were arguing, but they were discussing. One of them was tired of the crap of racism because he was older, right? The other one was in his 30s or something like that, and he was saying, "No, we need to find another way." And the younger boy was like, not on the shop, but he was angry, and so they were trying to both of them put their points of views. Do you understand? It was really interesting, but she didn't understand it, so she came in on a negative vibe. Because somebody else's opinion. And so and she, she's been trying, and which I like. I mean, I had to, I was quite hard on her, but because she's one of my students that I taught I taught at high school, and it broke my heart. But it doesn't mean that she's a bad person. It just meant that I needed her to. She remembered who I was and who I am and what I'm about. Right? And you should have come to me and asked me to explain it to you, than to just go online and spouting whatever somebody else said to you.
That's interesting. Like,
you have to remember that there are poison out there in Japan, poison the Japanese people's mind against us. So please remember that too.
It's interesting to see this behavior of this bad behavior when it comes to social issues. Like that someone would want to take this opportunity to, I don't know, jump on to some kind of bandwagon.
Yeah.
On an issue like this, as serious as this, it's usually the things like fashion.
And she never said anything before, but that's not who I am. I'm not going to sit on. I've had rows on Facebook so many times. I've been banned from Facebook so many times because they don't like what I say. I don't see I don't see why I was banned, because I didn't say anything. I just told the truth.
Hmm.
I speak facts, man.
This kind of helps us to segue into the topic of the marches, right? Because I know you wanted to touch on it, on the marches, right?
Well, I wanted to look at Black
there,
Lives Matter, and I wanted to look at White Lives Matter, and I wanted to get your point of view as well regarding Black Lives Matter, and because it's I'm already, you know, I think it's good for me to talk to you and get your points of view about what you think about Black Lives Matter and what you think about White Lives and Blue Lives Matter, right? So
let's do it.
I'd like to see your point of view. What do you think about Black Lives Matter?
The movement, the whole movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's needed. You know, like, I don't understand why there's so much defensiveness against the move, you know, about Black Lives Matter. It really baffles me, really. You know, the things that the organization is standing for, it's just it's so fundamental that I don't know why people would have anything against it.
What does it mean to you then, when you hear Black Lives Matter? What does it mean to you? What do you hear? What if someone said to you, well, what is Black Lives Matter? How would you define it?
A movement that is trying to fight for the rights of people who have a different skin color and deserve the same fundamental human rights as any other person. And it's really, I don't know, for me, I simply see it as that. You know, it doesn't have to be so complicated. You know, it's just that people take a single component of being human, and they look down on it.
Do you think it's political?
You know? And can you explain, like, what do you mean by, do I think it's...
Well, this is what the President of America said, and also also Fox TV. They all say it's a political. It has that Black Lives Matter is a what was the word? A political group that are racist.
Yeah,
and they say this without any facts, right? They say this without any facts. Do you think does Black Lives Matter come off as a political group to you?
Well, first, I'd like to know how they define, whoever's saying this statement, like how did they define political?
No definition. They've said no definition. Not to my knowledge. All I've heard are these words, that they are a political group.
When I think about the word political, you know, I think about people thinking about how things should be in society, how things should be set up, you know. So, and I think about people who see society as like a power struggle. So, you know, when I hear statements like that coming from one side, saying that this group is political, I feel like what that group is, it feels threatened, that they think that this whatever political group is trying to exercise and dominate.
Right.
But I don't see it.
Yes, and that's it. But doesn't that speak volumes? Right? Doesn't that speak volumes? Because these are leaders of America, right? And Fox News is part of this propaganda crap, right? So for a group of Black people that are saying we want to be equal, what's political about that? So you're basically, what they're saying is that no, we don't want you to be equal. So they've turned it around to mean, what does that mean? What is that saying? It's saying they don't. It's a way of more or less blatantly saying we don't want you to be equal to us by saying, but you're a political group, but not in what way are they political? What have they done apart from fighting for people's humanity and fighting for people to be equal, to be treated equally and fairly, and to be looked upon as a human? And as Martin Luther King said, for them to be based upon the content of their character, not of the color of their skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So what is all of this? How is this a political group?
I see. That's what I don't think is happening enough. Is that there's not enough listening from their side. There's no trust. So no matter how much you try to, explain yourself and reason with it, and like lay down these very like fundamental truths about what you're standing for, there's always this distrust from the other side that
And
they,
what do you think that is?
Mhm.
What do you
Why do
think
I?
that is? Because that's who they
Oof,
are.
there's so yeah.
That's who they are, right? That's exactly who
Mm.
they are. That's what they would do, right?
What
Had
what
they
I'm
been
surprised.
opposition, that's not who
Yeah.
we are.
What I'm surprised that I haven't like seen, what I think would be like, how do I say this? Like monumentally, impactful would be for Trump to sit down with like a leader from Black Lives Matter, or like have a discussion with the group.
Do you really think anybody can have a discussion with Trump?
That's the thing. It's like
I mean,
people.
I
That's the thing.
don't
It's like
mean like a. I mean, a civilized discussion. I mean, a intellectual discussion. I mean,
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy though? It's like the fact that like we laugh at that. We when we think
I
about
don't
that
think
happening,
we
or
shouldn't
like
laugh, but
when we think about that,
I can't
exactly.
imagine. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't imagine
yeah,
it because
yeah.
uh, Trump is. I don't take him seriously. I don't. I because. I, I mean, I think how he speaks is intentionally for those white people that low education, the ones that support him. That's why he speaks the way he does. People say he doesn't speak eloquently enough, but I think he knows how to do that. Maybe not as much as because he's, not as much as he should, but I do think that whether he speaks is probably purposely.
He knows what he's saying, and he chooses based on the reaction he knows he's gonna get. Yeah.
So I think the Black Lives Matter is easy, right? Because it's basically it is what it is, right? And everybody knows what it's about. But you got all these people go, it's racist, it's racist. What exactly have they done to be racist? So let's go on to White Lives Matter, and I'd like to hear you on that.
To be honest, could you fill me in a bit more on that? Not too much.
White Lives Matter says that. Sorry, not White Lives Matter. I meant to say All Lives Matter. I'm sorry, not
Oh,
White
all
Lives
lives.
Matter.
Okay.
I
Oh, all lives matter. Yeah.
All Lives Matter, not White Lives Matter. Excuse me. All Lives Matter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think we talked about this last time, but it's good to bring it up again, anyways. The idea that people feel not threatened, but like that Black Lives Matter is lacking in scope, right? That it's not inclusive enough of everyone. Yeah, it's missing the point. I think that Black Lives Matter. It's they're trying to stand up for people who are being oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
You
Do you
know,
think
and
do you think that they're really missing the point?
sorry, one more time.
Do you think that they're really missing the point? Do you think that they're really missing the
Yeah,
point?
yeah.
Do you think that they really don't understand Black Lives Matter?
Hmm. I'd like to talk with someone from an All Lives Matter side. But yeah, I think the same thing. From for people who are so pro All Lives Matter, they're number one, again, they're not listening. Number two, they're not. I feel like they feel like Black Lives Matter is taken away from them. You know, so it's like saying that Black Lives Matter means that my life doesn't matter as much as Black lives. You know.
Let me give you a scenario. What happened the other day?
Yeah.
I think I
Okay.
this on Facebook. I think it's a black actor. And I've never actually heard of him until the other day when he posted this. He wrote about. I think he posted a Twitter or a tweet. What do you call it on Twitter? I don't know because I don't really use it. He sent a tweet. What do you call it? On Twitter? What do you say?
A tweet. Oh my God.
The tweet on Twitter. I think it was Twitter, praising Black women, right? Because we are underrepresented in everything. So he sent a tweet praising Black women, you know, and then a white woman came in, Karen, as I say, and said, "Well, and white women too," and he just put her in a place. So it's the same thing as
one more time.
She said he was talking about Black women and how and basically beating them up and as respect for Black women, the Black queens, right? And but it happens all the time when a black man in the limelight, you know, in show business or in sports, big up a Black woman or praise a Black woman for her natural beauty and a natural instinct and a natural strength. A white woman finds the time to come in and say, well, we all are the same, and we all like all lives matter. We're white women who work too, and do that. But and for me, I posted this, and I wish I could have found who that woman was, and said to her, and I put my title said greed, because you've always been on top. Right? In every country, white women have always been on top. The dream that everybody's supposed to be like, want to be blonde hair and blue eyes, or even brown hair and just be white, right? With blue eyes and all this stuff. They've always been the ones on top. And then to come into a man's conversation about Black women and say, what about us? What does that say about you?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like,
he didn't say white women are nothing. At the moment, he's talking about Black women and how he feels about Black women.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same thing about Black Lives Matter. White people want to top it with all lives matter, because they can't say white lives matter. They won't say white lives matter because they know that ain't nothing going on in their life like it's going on in our life. So they say all lives matter.
It's very childish. You know, it makes me think about like, you know, like elementary school. You know, when a kid is like, how about me?
Why does the world see this? Why can't they see exactly what it is? Right? When Black people are saying lives matter, I'm not explaining it because it's right there in your face. I'm not explaining it to anyone because it's plain as night and day. So no one can tell me, right? Because it don't go, only Black Lives Matter. We're saying Black Lives Matter. Because you see the treatment of how, it's everywhere. It's on the news. You see how Black people are treated all over. Everybody hates us. What? Because we're Black. I experienced racism yesterday. I went into the shop, right? And I bought clothes from this place. I just went, there was a sale. Okay, I had time to kill. And I don't really go shopping anyway, you know, but I thought I'm going to go. I had my 2 masks on. And I went into the shop. And there was one woman in there at the time, and then another woman came while I was just looking around, and I saw a dress that caught my eye, and I walked past it 3 times. And I just wanted to know what size it was. You know what I mean? There was only one that was on the rack. And I said to the woman, there was one woman serving another woman, and the woman that was in the shop initially that ignored me, because you know in Japan, what do they say when you walk into a shop or walk in anywhere? What do they say? I didn't even get that.
Wow.
And you know, right? You know, and what's it called? Miss Grace, the shop is called, right? And you know, I'm gonna get my friend on. I'm gonna get her to call the head office because So I said, see what I'm saying? I was asking, I'm calling, and she did. And the woman that was coming through because in the department store they take the money and they take it somewhere else, right? To get the
Okay.
change, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
the other woman, and so the other woman saw me calling the other woman, and she said to the woman, she shouted out to her 3 times. She had to put down the dish with the money in on the side, which was to try to come and serve me. And I said to her, no, it's okay, it doesn't matter. I mean, dajobu, do this, dajobu. So I walked away.
Mm.
And she knew what that woman, and the woman was trying to pretend that she couldn't hear her.
Yeah.
And she knew.
That she was calling. Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often, but it was a first.
Yeah. I want to play Have You Ever, but how about have you ever on like public transportation, been sitting somewhere and there's, and
recently,
someone has avoided sitting next to you?
But recently, usually they sit by me.
Right?
And I'm like, please don't sit by me. Yes, yes, I know. I mean, it's a rarity for me because only in Kyoto, it's prevalent. It's there. In Osaka, they always sit by me. But I mean, too close, and I can't take it. So I'm like, why don't you not want to sit by me? That's how I'm complaining, because I don't want them to sit by me because it's always too. And I shouldn't say them. That sounds really bad. I'd rather have that, to be honest with you, because it's too touching me or talking. I'm like, I'm a Brit, and so we will get on a bus, and one person will be at the front, and we'll go to the back. But that's just something that I believe that we do. I don't know about now, but that's what I know that I do, and it's not a written law; it's an unwritten law. Space is really important. Right? So I'm not saying that it makes people feel uncomfortable when they do, because in Kyoto I do feel it. Right, I do feel it, but because of Osaka, I'm happy.
Okay.
I know it's a contradiction, but I'm happy because I'd rather have that space.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I wanna
when it's blatantly done, it's horrible. When it's blatantly done, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It makes you horrible.
Yeah. Have you had that?
I've had that. Yes, I've had that when it's blatantly, and then do you know what I mean? They see you and they or when they see, or when they've seen you, they go, I'm like.
Do you have any like funny, or not funny, but do you have any restaurant stories?
I have never experienced that. I know that I used to, my wife was, so how are you in restaurants? Thinking I had a sort of I went, never.
Okay.
It never happened to me. I know that they do put you to the back, or next to another foreign couple. I'm like, I don't want to sit by another foreigner. We ain't friends.
I don't know.
They either put you to the back so that it wouldn't, in my opinion, so that it won't stop Japanese people from coming in. Or they put you next to another foreign couple who's also at the back. I'm like going, I don't want to sit near them. And they're probably going, why are you going to put it by us, right? Because that's how I feel. Why? I don't want to join them. Because one of the things about Japan, right, is that some people do group all foreigners together as one, which I appreciate. But when the ones that don't like black people, right, I don't have time for them.
Okay, so this time I wanted to be respectful of your time and keep it to an hour. So we're about at an hour. So I want to ask you just one last question. Oh?
I have so many questions for you.
Oh. All right. Well, this is the last question I'm going to ask, and then you can do like a shotgun round for me. Okay. Okay. So okay. What kind of questions do you want Japanese people to ask more? No. So for example, I keep hearing, or that article that you sent me from the New York Times, the article that you said.
I don't care. I don't want to ask me anything. They go and find out for themselves. Don't ask me any questions.
Yeah.
Right? Because I find out about you. my own. I read about things like, or I learn from my students. My students just did presentations on Japanese culture, and I always make them do that. One of the presentations is Japanese culture and also social problem, because Japanese students, I think, don't look at things other than themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that. It's all about self. But I want them to, they look at Japanese culture, and then at the end of their presentation, because it's academic, I make them do an actual academic
research.
It's called academic presentation, not research, presentation.
Oh,
right?
okay.
I get them to have a final sentence which comes from their heart, and they turn around and say that looking at their own culture, they realize how many young people don't appreciate what they've got, and they really glad they have this opportunity to waken themselves up and waken others up too, right? So I learn a lot about actual Japanese different things in the culture that the students choose, and the things every year, the things that I don't know about that the student is actually doing a presentation on. So I learn more, and which is it's awesome because they're thorough. So it's for me, and the way that they can research that, they can research about other people. Like when they're researching, when they do presentations on social problems, some of them do discrimination, and they base it on America's discrimination, not on Japan's, but they base it on discrimination in America and Black people. So some of those are really like heart-wrenching for me. Like I'm like, how do you know this? And they really talk about. But what I always tell them is that they talk about Martin Luther King a lot, but I do want them to research Malcolm X, and also Frederick Douglass. All the others that came before and after. I really would like for them to look at the Black Panther movement. They were like, they were like a radical, as in the negative sense of radical, right? But no one knows about them. Like they talk about Malcolm X in the same way too. But when you ask them what they know, they don't know anything about any of them, because it's what that propaganda that white people install, right? Even I thought Malcolm X was a bad man in the beginning until I started reading about him. Have you read anything about Malcolm X?
I just watched his interviews online, but I know he has his autobiography, which would be great. So,
yeah.
But I love watching his interviews. Yeah.
They're awesome. They're so awesome.
All right, JKwan, hit me.
Hey. So that we talked before, and I wanted to know, what other research have you done to date regarding what's happening now? What other things have you to educate?
I like this. Yeah, I like this. So actually, that's a good question. So recently, I've actually been reading studies from Pew Research on police brutality, right? So looking at comparing perceptions between the police and the public, and it's interesting to see, like, some of these differences between the police and the public's perception. For example, like what I remember one part of the study looked at how the public viewed the role of police as either protectors or enforcers, or one or the other, or both. And like at times, this is a study done in America. They sampled over 900 police officers, and so that was the interesting part of the study, is that like the sample was police officers, so they asked a lot of the officers their opinions, and you see just this big discrepancy between perception of the role and purpose of police, and it just shows that there's a problem, there's an issue, that's going to lead to distrust and this uncooperation. Is that a word? Sorry. I'm living in Japan for so long, I'm not using English. It's crazy. But
I saw online that some friends were interested in what we talked about. Has anybody reached out to you?
Just really quickly, I wanted to touch on this one point. I wanted to bring it up, show you this study. Hold on. Give me 1 second while I find it.
Why
It
is
was
it called
really interesting.
How you spell? Is it Pew? P-E-W?
Pew Research. Yeah, it's called PEW. So they're one of like the leading.
I wrote it down. Pew Research. I was gonna have a look myself.
Yeah. Okay, so this is really cool. Let me show you this. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to screen share. Where are you? Okay.
Who is
So,
the researcher?
pardon?
Who is the researcher?
This is the Pew Research. Sure. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see.
David was
These guys.
David Williams and Kaylee A. Bryant. Okay. We're not see who these people are.
Yeah. But that one statistic I wanted to show you. Right. So here, it's about the code of silence. Right. So they're asking cops about like whistleblowing. I know you don't like that term, but that's what they're asking about it. So, so look at this one. Look at this one. The code of silence is an essential part of the mutual trust necessary to good policing. The code of silence, right? And look at this. Majority of police officers have said that they disagree with that.
Let me move this. Where me and you are, I can't. Where you and I are, I can't see all of the screen. So could you move? You know where we are? Can I move that or do? Oh, can I move it? Oh, I have to move it. Okay, go ahead now. I can see.
Oh, okay. Okay. So look at this. So the code of silence is an essential part of the mutual trust necessary.
So you need to explain that. Does that mean when the officer is doing something wrong, the other person is silent about it? Is that the code of silence?
It's the code of silence. Yeah, exactly. The code of silence just means that like if someone's
they don't tell on them or they don't do anything when the officer is.
Exactly. So
because some of our Japanese audience or learners of English might not understand what this means.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So code of silence just means that when you see someone doing something wrong, that you have a kind of unspoken pact with your brethren, with your partner, with your other group, that you don't say anything. You hide it. You keep it secret. That's a code of silence. You stay silent. You don't like rat someone out, right? And obviously, not surprisingly, people will say, "Hey, that's not good." Like, like it's not good to like keep quiet when someone's doing something wrong, right? But then, if you look at the third one, hold on. Okay, sorry, yeah. But then if you look at the third, fourth one, it is not unusual for a police officer to turn a blind eye to improper conduct by other officers. So that means that so they're asking police officers to say whether or not it's unusual for police officers to turn a blind eye, meaning that you ignore it, you pretend to ignore it, or to pretend that you didn't see it.
Not unusual for them,
right?
It's normal for them to do that, right?
And then look at this statistics, right? You got like 50 to 43%.
So the top's a lie, right?
Right.
The top, the two at the top are lies, right?
Yeah, exactly. So over the majority of police officers saying that it's not unusual for police officers to turn a blind eye, but then the same sample of police officer is saying that it's necessary to
dumbasses.
Yeah, to not adhere to the code of silence.
And so these are officers, right? Look how easy they can be tricked, and it's not even a trick.
Yeah.
Like these are people protecting who are here to protect and serve. To protect and serve what? Like, look, they can't look at this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What was the result? What did they say? And what did the researchers say at the end?
Actually, I'm not sure, but I didn't finish this one actually.
Oh, okay.
I didn't this one, but like it's just interesting. I always love.
I'd like to read the result of this.
Yeah. There's a bunch of findings, but this one was really interesting, right? So it's saying that like a lot of police are saying that like, hey, you know, like if someone does something wrong, we should say something, right? But then it's over. The majority of police officers are saying that police officers don't do that. Police officers are turning a blind eye to improper conduct by officers. But then those same police officers are saying that like if someone does something wrong, we should say something, right? So it's like very contradictory. Yeah.
They trick themselves.
Yeah. Sorry. So that was a long-winded response
but I think it's important.
To your question. But yeah.
What I want to get, my last question to you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Untitled everything.
Turn on. Hold
on. I want to go back to the Asian thing. We just talked about Japanese, and I'm thinking.
Give me 1 second. Turn on the lights.
Oh, okay.
Go for it. Sorry.
We never talked about your background. I'm just put it out.
Yeah, that's it. What's up?
Chinese.
I was born in Hong Kong, and then moved to Toronto when I was 2 years old, and then grew up in Toronto. Okay. Yeah, so went to university there, graduated uni, and then came to Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you thought about Asians in general, the reaction to, we talked about Japan, right? Yeah. And I know that, I think it was April in China, where they were kicking out some people, I hate that word again, the Akabulans from, they were kicking them out of their houses, put them on the streets. Police they were treated so badly, so really, really disgustingly, right? How did you feel about that? Did you see that, and how did you feel? And had you been, let's say, what would you have done if you were in that situation in Hong Kong? Let's say, I know that you grew up most of your life in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't hear you. Could you describe that situation one more time?
Okay, so I forget the place in China where it happened.
Okay.
The people from Akabulan were evicted from their house that they already played. And then they were told they couldn't get a sign in McDonald's saying that they can't go in. We can't serve black people. Right? And they were basically treated like less than animals.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your take on that. And also, if you're in a situation, say you were in Hong Kong, this was happening, and everybody else around you were Asian people, how would you react? With having your peers are behind you, right? People are all there and they're all attacking these people. What would you do? First of all, your take on it, and then what would you do?
My take on it, I mean, like that's just wrong. You know, like if you're being racist like that, if you're treating someone, if you're discriminating against someone, and you're not, like providing them the same service you would to anyone else. But what would I do? It's just like, I want to say that like I will stand up for any acts of racism that I see. It's just I'm gonna stand up against that. Surprisingly, I actually haven't personally had to do stood up and had to say something. In my time in Japan, I've never seen blatant racism happening, in front of me, which is it kind of sucks because I'm always ready.
Does it have to be blatant? What about microaggression? Wouldn't you stand up for that?
Yeah, sure, of course.
If somebody's treating someone unequally, regardless of how they're doing it, the fact that they're treating someone unequally, that should be something to speak up about. Do you not think?
Yeah. So I guess the most that I experience is when, sometimes I go to dance practice,
Mm.
uh, and sometimes there's foreigners, and when foreigners come in to the session, it's predominantly Japanese dancers. Yeah, but when foreigners come in, there's kind of like a hesitance to kind of like accept them or like welcome them into the group, or to, yeah. And so I try to, how do I don't say that I try to bridge that connection, by making that connection with the people. In terms of microaggressions that I've seen in my life, I haven't I haven't seen, I can't think of any instances where
What do you
I've
consider
seen it happening.
what do you consider microaggression?
Microaggression could be small things like, it can be very, very subtle things
Mm-hmm.
that
So I want to see
where
what.
someone
So
doesn't say,
go ahead.
it could, let's say for example you're at a supermarket, and you if you see someone of color, then you kind of you keep more of a distance to them, for example. Mm-hmm. Right? You're more hesitant to talk to them, right? Even if, for example, let's say you hear them speak Japanese, so it's like you can talk to them, right? Things like that. It could be, for example, like when you talk to someone, maybe it's not microaggression, but it's just stereotyping, right? When you meet someone at a bar and they bring up all these stereotypes of you, like for example,
That's microaggression.
right. So if I tell someone, like I was born in Hong Kong, but I'm from Canada, I was like, and they'll say like, oh, you're from Hong Kong, so like, what do you think about like the recent protests and demonstrations? What do you think about Jackie Chan? Oh, like things like that. I was like, has anyone ever said you look like Jackie Chan? Right? Like I get that all the time, right? Yeah. They expect you to know and personify like the archetype of this person from this.
When you say they, who do you mean? I'm not sure who you're talking about.
From my experience, it's like people like Japanese people I meet at, like
only Japanese
for the
people?
first time. Yes, I would say predominantly from my experience.
Really?
Yeah, in conversations, I always get a lot of stereotypes. When I tell people that I'm either from Canada or Hong Kong, they always bring up the common Canadian. Do you like maple syrup? Oh, like do you play hockey? Right? Yeah.
But those aren't like.
No. Yeah.
They for me, it's like they'll be coming to touch my hair, both white and Asian, and I'm like, I don't think so. Oh, don't touch my hair. And they feel upset. I'm like, no. You don't know. You put yourself in that predicament, right? I don't know you, right? You could be picking your ass or picking your nose, and you're coming to put your hand on me. Even so, I'm not a thing. And they get upset about it. And I'm like, well, that's what happens when you go to touch someone that you don't even know. It happens to me. It's happened to me a lot, and it's not just. And sometimes they've even and I get mad, and I'm like, listen, don't touch my hair. I'm not going to tell you again, because I don't. It's disrespectful. I don't touch people. Why you feel you're gonna touch people and you don't even know them? I mean, I'm literally walking through the supermarket, and like a person would say to me, kitty, come look at kitty, right? So basically my hair's really gorgeous, right? And I'm like, thank you. And then they're coming for it. I'm like, don't touch my hair. And they're going like, and it makes me look like I'm the bad one. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. You're not making me look bad because you're not touching my hair. right? Mm-mm. Right. So what do you do? How do you get? I don't like questions about. I don't ask people about the hair because for me,
Yeah.
I think that for me, their intentions to me. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm defensive because of what I know. That for me, their intention is derogatory. It's to make me feel bad, and so I don't have conversations about my hair. Because I had a conversation with one of the teachers that I've known for a while, because we were at high school together and now at the university together, and she was asking about my hair, and it was really, really impertinent. And I said to her, you of all people, you had cancer, and you're asking me a question like that? And she said, well, Kaylee. I said, listen, I ain't Kaylee. I don't care what you said to another black girl and what she let you get away with. I'm not her. So it's none of your business. No, and she stopped talking to me for a little bit, but I don't care because for me, I'm real. Right? I'm the person that you need to get to know me, not to know about my outside, get to know about my inside. That's most important to me. You know? Well, it feels like you're asking.
I've never had. No, I've never. I've never had. Personally, I've never experienced probably the same degree or severity of those microaggressions, right? As you can see, it's right.
Sometimes I go, what?
Yeah.
Sometimes you go home and you went, oh shit. It hits you sometimes because you don't even see it sometimes when you get home. You think about it because something's don't feel right in your gut, and you get home and you go, oh my god. Because I try not to let anything go because I need to school them and let them know you can't talk to me like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm like you can't. You're not. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that. But sometimes it gets by because I'm too slow to get it.
Yeah, for me, it's always just been like more slight micro. I don't know if I would call them microaggressions. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just like when I'm in my neighborhood, let's say I'm around, my neighbors, and when you move in and the moment they realize that you're a foreigner and that you speak English, there's an added fear that adds on to their perception of you, or like a bit more wariness that they have towards like interacting with you, wanting to avoid you, right? When they see you, they don't want to like acknowledge or say hi or lock eyes with you. Those kind of things make you feel a bit more excluded. I'm pretty sure. I don't. You know what I'm talking about.
For me, my experiences of racism in Japan, and we're going to touch on this in the next episode.
Yeah.
But my experiences it's been with the people in power. You understand, like not necessarily the bosses, but people who are supervisors or the teachers. Or that's where I've had my encounters with. I've had realtors, bankers, and Japanese girls that love white men. I've had so many horrible encounters with them because they're trying to act like white people and they're not trying to be who they are. And I've had a lot of horrible encounters with them. With Japanese men that like white women, yeah, that too, but it's very, very few. It's I don't know about any other black girls how they felt, but I have, and they look down on you, and it's like they think they're better than you because they're with a white guy, and they act. Honest to God, it's like whoa.
Wow, it's like a status symbol or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah, because you think you're different. You go to America, find out.
It's like some kind of trophy.
So yeah, I'm laughing inside. You go to America and you find out. Go on, look down on me. Go ahead, look yourself out. That's because for me, I get a laugh last. Laugh last. Is they ever moved to America?
Mm.
And she's better than me. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jen. I think this is a good place to leave it.
Okay. I want us to.
This is good. This episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah. I really like what we're doing, and I hope that a lot of people also write in, because you're going to post this on Facebook and you're going to do that on YouTube too, or
Is that cool?
are you going to do it?
Like
Yeah,
last time?
yeah. Did you put on YouTube last time too?
Pardon?
You put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I
Not on YouTube. Not on YouTube. Yeah.
If you can do YouTube, do YouTube. But I'm just saying that it'd be nice to see people's things that they want us to discuss as well.
Yeah.
People's, you know, what would they want us to talk about next time or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right. So, like, for all you listeners, like, if you want to ask Jen something, you know, post a comment.
I'm Jennifer. Just call me Jen, and I'll keep getting that.
Yeah.
I decided to change JKwan to JKwan to sound better.
Oh, I like that, JKwan.
JKwan, yeah. So that's what we are. We're JKwan.
Yeah.
I'm Jennifer, and this is Kwan. And for those people who are listening to us, and to my friends, please support me, because I love you feel the same way as I do. And if you're jealous, sod off, right? If you're not supporting me because you're jealous, but I'm on the business.
Yeah, know what I mean.
Oh, because that's all I know. That if there's no likes or whatever, right, and you're skipping it intentionally, then get your ass off my friends list, because you're at my bastard. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah. Real talk.
Do you have any recommendations before we end it off? Like anything you recommend checking out for the viewers or whatnot?
No, all I'm telling to the people who are not of melanin, if you want to know what's going on, go educate yourself. My job to educate me, to educate you about me or people like me. That's your job, right? Ain't my job.
Sounds good.
Yeah. That's all.
Cool. Let's wrap it up here. All right. So, stay in touch. All right.
Cool. Yes, we're trying to do this.
Episode 3.
No, we're trying to.
Yeah. Exactly.
And we do meet to talk about different topics and what we want to discuss.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got off topic.
Which is good. Yeah.
Life though, we're being for real, right?
Yeah.
Like you know what we said. If there's anything to the people who are listening, if you want to send a comment for something, things for us to discuss, but it's got to be relative to what we're, you know. I don't want no stupidness, right?
Yeah.
About race, we will talk about race. No, we'll talk about race, about life, talk about different issues.
Exactly.
We'll talk about complexion. We talk about the colorism.
Exactly.
Things about with in China and Chinese things that I don't know about.
Exactly.
We're going to share all different things. Music.
If you want,
so
if you want an unfiltered, honest, candid discussion and talks, then you're in the right place.
So this is JKwan.
Right. Peace.
We're signing out.
Oh, we need our anthem, our music.
We're gonna get
themes.
All right.
All right. Peace.
See you guys.